We're gonna talk about how to play the Sally, Betty, and Jane game. So the Sally, Betty, and Jane game is about a repeated identity ratio. So you can take a look at the picture. Right, over here, what we'll do is we'll split them into two groups. It can be done with three groups as well, doesn't matter. So the objective is for the groups. So for example, this is one group, yellow team, and then after that this is the red team. Now they're supposed to be in a row. The objective is that they're supposed to pass a ball from here into the respective basket, right? Whether it is Sally, Betty, or Jane, right? So likewise, they have one ball and they're supposed to pass it over there. It is a colored ball. So the question that the coach should be asking is this. For example, if the ratio of Sally is to Betty is 1:2 and the ratio of Betty is to Jane is 1:3, okay, who has the most, right? The ball has to go into the basket which should have the biggest ratio. For example, in this particular scenario, the ratio of Sally is to Betty is to Jane is actually 1:2:6. So Jane has the most in this case, so the ball has to be rolled into Jane. Likewise, this group will have to roll the ball into Jane. Now the trick here is how the tricky part is how are they going to do it. They're going to do it this way. You can see over here, right? So every one of them will be given two pieces of A4 size paper. So the A4 size paper, we will just fold it. Oops. Okay, just fold it into half so as to create some kind of a yeah, like that. Okay, some kind of a bridge, right, for them to roll the ball over, right? Okay, and they're supposed to connect their bridges. They're supposed to connect their bridges so that it rolls into the correct cup. Okay, whether is it Jane, Betty, or Sally. So what do we test here? Now, I mean, how are they supposed to figure this out? So they are supposed to figure this out by making the common denominator. So for example, in this particular case again, they have to realize that Betty is being repeated. So this set of ratio has to be multiplied by 2. So you get 2:6. Okay, when you multiply this set of ratio by 2, it becomes 2:6. So Jane effectively becomes the biggest. Okay, so I'm just going to give another demo to show how it works. Right, so imagine you are the coach. Okay, we're now going to start this game. Right, it's called Sally, Betty, and Jane game. Now what you have to do is to determine which person has the biggest, right? And then you're supposed to put the ball into the basket with the person with the biggest ratio. So, but I'm not going to give you the biggest ratio. I'm just going to give you two ratios, right? So for example, we're just going to try one time, right? So if Sally is 2:1, Sally is to Betty is 2:1, and then the ratio of Betty to Jane is 2:2, right? So who has the biggest ratio in this case, right? So what you have to do is to create a third one to compare all three persons, right? So now because Betty is being repeated in this case, you will have to make this into 2. So if this is 2, it will be 4. So the ratio will be 4:2. So effectively, Sally has the biggest ratio. And once the whole group has determined that Sally has the biggest ratio, they will have to form a line using their paper tunnel or whatever to reach into Sally. Okay, likewise, they will have to form one line somehow and go and reach into Sally. And the ball has to roll into Sally. So the group that can roll the ball into Sally the fastest will get a point. Okay, that's it for Sally, the execution of Sally, Betty, and Jane.